Hey everyone, welcome back. We are rolling into day two of the Healthier Habits by Halloween, and this week's focus is inner peace. So, today we're kind of going to talk about how to clean out the closet. And you guys, the closet is your mind. How do you clear out the junk, the negativity, all the things that just aren't serving you? So, Jackie is back with us from Canada, and we're just going
Hello.
to have a chit chat again today. And let us know in the comments if you're catching this live, if you're watching replay. And then, of course, please comment workbook below if you want a copy of the 10-page workbook, and I'd be happy to get it to you. Thanks so much for popping in, Jackie.
Thank you for having me, Sarah. These challenges are so fun. I love them. Love them because it's a daily practice.
Absolutely. And that's why whenever I do these little challenges, these are kind of things I do for myself on a monthly or every, so often basis. But I figured why not share with everybody inside of this page because, talking about mindset and things like that, I mean, it's not always sexy, and it's not easy. And so a lot of these things we keep to ourselves, we don't necessarily share the hard with a lot of people because everybody's version of, hard and difficult and, sifting through the junk, it's different for everybody. And so I figure what better way to kind of get through it than with other people that are experiencing the same thing.
It's actually, I learned over the last few years in particular, I never had a word for this. I put a word to it. When you listen and look at what other people are doing, it can actually be quite expansive. Like you can get like that spark and you're like, oh my goodness, like, why didn't I think of that? Or that's such a great idea. I should employ that tactic. So I think it's fantastic that you're bringing this to your group because it's just one of those things that somebody, I know yesterday we left off with like, how do you go into your day? And I think most of us, particularly in North America, we go into our day like in the state of rushed busyness. And when you
Mhm.
say clean out the closet, like I think about that a lot. And so just listening to, how people go about cleaning out the closet with their mindset stuff is very expansive.
Yeah. And for me, so my best way of sort of getting my mind right, I do that better right before bed. That's my most I don't know, that's when my mind has the most creativity, the most acceptance, I guess, of, the thoughts that are flowing because like you say, in the beginning of the day, we tend to wake up, we reach for our phones immediately and we're in go mode. Like there's not a whole lot of in between of being completely rested to holy smokes, I got to get, to 100 miles an hour and get to work or, get my day productive. So I really, really like to use the back half of my day right before going to sleep to sit there and just kind of allow my thoughts to go. I'm not trying to actively quiet them, and feel frustrated because I'm not falling asleep. I sort of let my thoughts flow. And that's actually when I have some of the most creative moments. And I'll reach over and do a little note in my phone, or honestly, I should probably just keep a pencil and paper so I don't have to touch my phone. But,
No, I do. I know I keep every night I say the same thing, and every day I forget to put the journal by the bed.
yeah.
But I do the same thing. But I have a question for you, Sarah, because I do not, I'm out of my corporate job now, and I know that you still are
Mhm.
very much active in your daily corporate life. You're a very busy person, and your mornings, I feel like your mornings, like you are pretty much at the desk. I know you talk about like doing your morning supplements and your smoothie, and I know you're very organized because you schedule it in your phone. I am not one of those people. I'm more intuitive about it, but like I'm curious, Sarah, like how do you go into your day? And I can imagine like I know you love your True Luck family and the job that you have, but that's not to say, I mean, even if you love your job, you have days where it's like, oh, I don't want to do this
Yeah.
particular task, or like, oh, this is so like I'm so not in the mood for this. Like how do
Mhm.
you tackle that, Sarah? Have you developed any strategies to really help lighten the load in that way or lighten the energy when you're feeling that way?
Well, honestly, so I guess the way my day kind of runs is when I wake up, I really, really try not to look at my phone right away because there are a ton of notifications all over the phone from, the night before throughout the early morning, whatever the case may be. So I really try to not look at my phone at all. I get in my water, get in my supplements, get something in my stomach, and I really make an effort to spend like 10 minutes reading or doing something that sort of can get my mind in this creativity mode, or I don't know, just sort of out of that resting phase, I guess you could
Okay.
say. So something that gets me thinking, because if I dive right into my work, like my corporate job is a lot of data, like it's just a lot of numbers. And so for me, that doesn't get my brain feeling active. That can almost be because it's so, I don't know the right word, it's just so kind of monotone, the work, that it can keep you in that resting phase. So for me, I really try to do something active for my brain. And that for me is reading or just like getting creative with maybe a smoothie in the morning. It really just energizes me. And then when I go to sit down and do my corporate job, I really only try to go in about 2 hour increments because when you're sitting in front of, for example, I have three monitors over here, you can get sucked right in, and before you know it, it's been 5 hours and you haven't had a sip of water, gone to the bathroom, any of the things. And that's just really not healthy for your mind or your body. So I
You're
try
like
to
a
do
day
about two
trader.
hour increments. Um, and I'll get up and move my body. Like I'll go outside, I'll get some sunshine, even if it's just 5 or 10 minutes. And then in between that time is when I get on my phone and I do some of the branding stuff. I do some of the wellness check-ins, with some of my members and things like that. Because this too can be a time suck. So you have to be very mindful.
Okay, so I'm curious too to know, like, what's a typical, like, your work day is a 9 to 5, or you have flexibility?
I have absolute flexibility.
That's amazing.
My CFO is super, super generous with just understanding that we're all working from home now, and this is a new world we live in. So as long as the job gets done, it doesn't really matter what day of the week or what time of the day that happens. So I'm super grateful in that. But I try to make it kind of like a 9 to 5 situation. It usually ends up being more of like a 9 to 6:30 or 7, because I'll take breaks in between the day. I might take an hour to go work out. I might spend, 10, 15 minutes multiple times throughout the day, taking breaks, reading a book, going to cook something in the kitchen, stuff like that. So I'm grateful that I can piece my day together in the way that really suits me. I know it's a lot harder for people that actually are going back into the office. That makes it a little trickier because you really only have, the morning and the evening
Yeah.
to cap your day with things that are filling you up, as opposed, that you're not doing for somebody else.
Well, yeah, and some jobs, believe me when I tell you, don't even allow for that. So I feel like my type of lifestyle before, there was no, like,
Yeah.
yeah, there was no time for, I didn't
Hmm.
have time to think about any of this. I just had to make it through the day. And so that, I think my mindset cleaning out the closet was all about like not getting aggravated by clients. And it was a very high stress environment that I was in. And so I think just trying to take away the stress took everything out of me at the
Yeah.
time.
And I think too, like reframing your mind around the work or the responsibilities or the expectations that, whether it be your boss or your family, wherever those responsibilities or expectations are coming from, when you reframe your mind of like, okay, what part of my day is really serving me and the people around me? Is it, is there some part of my day that has this super, super high stress level that I'm allowing to just exist, but it doesn't serve anybody? So like, how do we move through that and create a different level of, this space that like serves everybody in a more productive manner, and that's,
Boundaries.
yeah, Exactly.
I was very bad with setting my boundaries because I had a job that had no boundaries, and it
Hmm.
spilled over into the rest of my life. And now I'm resetting. I'm still in the process. I feel like it's an evolving thing, but I think boundaries is really, when you're
Yeah.
talking about cleaning out the closet, I feel like that's really key.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the whole practice of like doing a brain dump, kind of getting out, whether it be good, bad, happy, stressful, whatever the case may be. But if there's things that are weighing on your mind and you can't stop thinking about them, get it out on paper, like write it down somewhere. And that's the whole, action item for today is set a 5-minute timer and just literally write down everything that's weighing on your mind, all the to-do lists and the
Yeah.
things that are stressing you out, the thing that, I haven't made that phone call to book that one thing, or whatever the case may be, just get it out of your mind. And it really frees up so much space for you to then start to
Real.
create those boundaries. And you don't feel quite so like guilty or anxious around setting those boundaries once you kind of clear out all the junk in your mind that's like telling you this false story of like, no, you have to get it all done. It's like, no, it'll all get done. If it's important to you, it will all get done. So you really have to kind of prioritize and set those boundaries so that way you know that you're not just wasting your time doing something because someone it's an expectation from somebody else.
For sure. I do that all the time.
Hmm.
I For people who like writing down, that's a great method. I do a bit of both. I do dump it onto a piece of paper, but I also use like ClickUp, or there's Asana or Trello. There's so many
Hmm.
different tools now online, but I do keep a running to-do list, and it allows you to see everything, and then you can prioritize.
Yeah.
Like there's some things that are just bigger picture that are like, in the distance, and then there's some things that like are more immediate. And if you're really, really super busy and you have a lot going on, that's how things slip through the cracks. So I agree. That's a great way to get everything from your brain into another space. It's great. It's a very
Yeah.
good process and tool.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not always the pen to paper type, but having that process of like brain dumping, I do allow myself some time in the day, especially if I'm feeling like just super stressed and I can't multitask one more thing. I'm like, what am I doing? Stop for a minute, because multitasking is not like the goal in life. We need to do one thing well at a time. You're going to be more productive in a 10-minute time frame if you put all of your attention to that one thing for 10 minutes than you would for an hour doing five different things.
So true.
So it's really all about reframing and giving yourself a little bit of grace to be like, it's okay that this task is, been weighing on my mind and maybe it's not going to get done before noon, but it's there. It's on my mind. It's going to get done. So yeah, I think really allowing myself to giving myself the option to clean out the closet and saying it's okay to just like get rid of that thought. That's has a lot of power.
For sure. It
Um,
really does. Yeah.
I'm going to show you guys really quickly the workbook in case you didn't see it yesterday. So we've got today is the cleaning out the closet. So this is today's little action item. Set a timer for 15 or for 5 minutes. Write down the negative thoughts you want to get rid of. Are they true? Are they logical? Where are they coming from? These are really good questions to ask yourself because they put them into perspective. Like, is this thought I'm having even worth my time? You know, um, I think we kind of hang on to stuff a lot longer than we need to in general.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think some of us too, like we don't even realize it's a recurring thought that holds, right?
Right.
It's a bit, I think it really is a bit subconscious.
Absolutely. And
So yeah,
I
we
heard
need to learn.
somewhere that in a day, like it's rare that a person will have a new thought. We almost are always operating from the past, from either a past thought, a past experience, um, a past expectation and we move those things into the day to day, like as they come. And so doing something like this, where you just brain dump and get out all of those negative stuff that's not serving you, it really allows you to then have that clean slate when you move into a new day and just make space in your mind for, to learn something new, to think something new. Um, yeah.
I
Okay.
agree.
Me too.
Okay, cleaning out the closet. Very
Cleaning out the
important.
closet. Well, sidebar, I definitely need to clean out my actual closet too. Because
So do I, yes. Yeah,
I've got plenty of clothes that I need to, send over to
the
Goodwill or something.
relationship between the mental clutter and the actual environmental and spatial clutter,
Yeah.
right?
Well, and that's a really good point. If you're watching this and you're thinking like, "Ugh, I'm not going to write down stuff. I'm not going to do that." Maybe look at the space you're in. Like, look at your desk. How cluttered is it? How, like, is that making you stressed out? Spend 5 minutes cleaning up, tidying up space around you. Um,
It's the best feeling.
yeah. And that actually leads into a little bit of what we're going to talk about tomorrow, which is kind of a little bit more tactile, and where I'd like to make a list of like, what are all the things that you want, and then kind of numbering them 1 to 10. How achievable are they? How achievable do you think they are for you? What actions do you need to take to get there? That kind of stuff. So, all right, you guys.
All right.
Um, so drop workbook in the comments below. I'll get you a copy of it. And, you know, today was just kind of short and sweet. And I appreciate you hopping on with me, Jackie.
Thank you, Sarah. Always lovely.
We'll talk soon.
Bye.